What's up, Sim Racers? This is Larry at TJR Sim, and today I want to talk to you about my Christmas gift. I picked up an Oculus Rift VR system, and at Best Buy actually for $350, and they had one of those daily deals. I actually bought it for $400 the day before. The next day they literally had it on sale for $50 less. So I went back, got my $50. So $350 for Oculus. I saw that sometime, I don't know, 400 it dropped in the summertime or something like that. And I did see it drop to 350 on Black Friday too. So I was thinking they would drop it around Christmas as well, and sure enough they did. Although I wasn't quite as patient enough because I got it a day early. But either way, I got it now, and it's actually pretty awesome. And so in this video, I want to just talk about VR, my first impressions of VR, a little bit of setup tips. So it will be a bit longer video, but if you're a sim racer, and most of us sim racer enthusiasts are very into immersion factor when we're sim racing. That's why we spend all this money on widescreen monitors, and we got to literally have a wheel and a shifter and a racing seat and pedals. I mean, you're already into immersion, okay? And if you're like me, I run sim experience and six transducers to help mimic what's going on in the track and stuff. So VR just offers another layer of immersion. So now I will say, just to touch on setup. Now there's lots of videos on setup for the VR, and just to touch also, I didn't get the Oculus, or I didn't get the Vive rather. I picked the Rift over just because it seemed to be catered more for sim racing, and the Vive seemed to be catered more for room space virtual reality. Not that you can't do that with the Rift as well, but the resolution is a little better on the Vive from what I understand. But I didn't need to spend the extra money on the extra sensors that I wouldn't be utilizing. I mean, as it is, the Rift came with 2 of them. You really only need 1 for sim racing. But it is fun to actually use it, play other games besides just sim racing with it, which I had a lot of fun doing. But anyway, I had this since Christmas, and setting it up was a little scary, I guess. When you first set it up, you're like, man, I don't know how this is going to work. Is it plug and play? Well, it is. It's pretty close to plug and play. You literally just plug in your your HDMI port on your computer for your headset and a USB. And you want to use USB 3.0s on your headset, and I think one of your sensors. The other sensor can be plugged into 2.0. I actually have all mine plugged in 3.0s. No, I think both the sensors, all of my stuff's plugged in 3.0. But I think if you get a 3rd or 4th sensor, you could set that up in 2.0 USB. Anyways, once you set it up and you're going through the tutorial, they play nice little videos for you and stuff, and they'll let you know how to do things and stuff. So pretty straightforward. But when you get to setting up your virtual reality, as far as your little controllers that come with it, the touch controllers come with it, you can skip that. Don't worry about it, because all you need is the headset to work. Those controllers still work just fine. I just tried it out to see if they would work in it, when I'm going through the setup. But you're basically setting up a guardian space, usually a 3x3 space that it wants to use, so you don't basically trip over something or punching a hole in your monitors directly in front of you kind of thing. So I don't think it's really intended for us sim racers, that do it. So anyway, you can skip that and just go straight to setting up the headset, and the touch controllers still work just fine for other games too. You just don't have this guardian space that pops up. But anyway, and also I would highly recommend, make sure after you load the Oculus on there, go back to your Windows in updates, and see if you physically check to see if there's an update, because I did that and there was an update, and it was, for Windows 10 it was quite long of an update, and I always have my PC updated. But it had something to do with the VR, because it was with 3D actually, and it actually improved my graphics a little bit. So I think it was the update 1709 or 1790 or something like that. I forgot what it was. But yeah, definitely make sure you update that. And then Oculus then recognized that my Windows 10 was updated, and it had to update again too, which is real quick for the Oculus part of it. But anyway, and also make sure when you go to Steam VR to check box under performance settings to asynchronous, and there's one under below it. It says allow asynchronous rear projection, and another one. I can't think of the name. I know one of y'all smart guys will know it. But anyway, that's setup wise. Let's get into the VR, the good stuff and the bad stuff. And I'll just cover the bad first because it's the most glaring thing about VR. VR is not pretty. Just plain and simple. It's not pretty. You're looking through goggles, kind of like fish eyes, kind of like looking through a fish bowl in a way, where the edge of the goggles have this God ray like effect to them, right, when you're moving your head around on the screen. But you don't ever notice it when you're playing. And you only notice it on like really bright lights on it. But you want to make sure that you have your headset centered correctly on you. If you're getting a little blurriness, that's because it's not on your face properly. What you will see when you know that you're seeing it right is that the screen looks like you're looking through a screen door. Imagine you're sitting in your house looking outside in your backyard with the door open but the screen door closed. That you see everything in a 3D environment, but it's not as crisp as you would like to see it. And that's what VR is. There's no way getting around it. It doesn't matter if you have a 1080 Ti, you're still going to have that. You're just going to have the it's still going to have that screen door effect. You're just going to have better visuals within the screen door effect with a better graphics card. But anyway, and the other downside is some people get sick on VR. I don't. I can play VR for 3 hours straight and I'm fine. I do get a little lightheaded if I'm rolling backwards or I'm doing a bunch of donuts or something on the track because you feel like you're moving, but your brain feels like it's moving, but your body doesn't. So it kind of jacks with you a little bit. But other than that, it's fine. Now, I'm not going to go into setup within the games. I'll make another video for that just so we don't make this one too long. But yeah, you pretty much want to max out everything. You want to live with it's more like living with the best quality you can get at the highest performance. I guess that makes sense. I guess I have to look into it a little bit here. With basically like your reflections, your car detail. You want your car detail and stuff high. The track detail, like your flags waving in the background. That's crowds and stuff. That's not very important for the racing part. So you want to turn all that stuff down low. So all the non-essential things you want to turn off or low. And then what's essential to you is your ride, your car that you're sitting in, and it looks good, and the cars that are coming up around you look good. Forget about trying to look down the track at long distances like you do on a regular monitor. You're not going to see long distances. Now, this isn't going to be like Atari Enduro, if anybody remembers that old racing game, or Pole Position, a popular one, where you don't see something but just a few feet ahead of you. I mean, you see stuff. You see other 3D objects way far ahead of you, say like at Bathurst down the straights, but you can't define them very well. So it looks like screen door. Back in the day when let's say 480p was out and you thought 480p was the bomb, and you got so used to looking at 480p, and then 720p came out and you're like, oh my gosh, how did I ever live with 480p resolution? Well, that's like this. This is kind of like 720p with a screen door in front of you. And then, same thing when you went from 720p to 1080p, you're like, man, this looks so much better. So it's kind of that graphical difference. Expect 720p graphics with a screen door in front of you. I know that sounds horrible, but the immersion factor is so great that you tend to forget about the bad part, which is the graphics. When you're on short tracks racing, it's amazing because you don't need to look long distances. But when you're on long tracks, like say Bathurst, on the straights, you're trying to look way down the track, that you really can tell what's going on. But when you're in the tight sections of the track, you're like, whatever, I don't care. You see everything just, clearly. And still with the screen door effect, always the screen door effect. You won't get rid of it. Not in this generation, maybe the next generation. But yeah, you see things just fine. So, alright, so that's touching on the details. I'll go into this later if y'all request it, and setups and stuff between different games. I will let you know about the games that I've tested. Graphically wise, iRacing looks the best in VR out of all the racing games. It seems like iRacing, it was made for VR. They do a really good job in it. My second favorite is Project Cars 2, with a very close second instead of Corsair as far as the VR experience. And then Race Room's a blast to play just because the sounds are so amazing, and the cars drive great. But let's see, Race Room sometimes doesn't load correctly, but yeah, it is what it is. But it works fine when it's up and going. It works fine. R Factor 2 looks the worst. Automobilista doesn't even have VR yet, from my understanding. I thought it did when I mentioned it in the comments in some other video, but yeah, R Factor 2 does. Dirt 4 I have not tried. Not Dirt 4, but Dirt Rally I haven't tried it yet. But I'm having so much fun with Project Cars 2 that I don't really need to try that just yet. But let's go into just a qualifying session here, or practice session, I think it is, free practice. And I'm going to tell you what I'm experiencing in VR. I already pointed out what's bad. It's a screen door effect. Sorry, that's just the way it is. I don't know what I'm sorry for. I'm not the developers. But sorry to break the news to you. It doesn't get any better no matter how much money you throw at it right now. The graphics around you get better. The shadow effects get better. The resolutions on your cars and stuff get better with the higher end graphics card. But the screen door effect is still there. And it's just how it is right now. But I know it'll get even better. VR is here to stay. There's multi-millions of dollars being invested in VR. So it's just going to do nothing but get better. We're just the first, earlier adopters of this. Okay, so what I see now, I'm in my car here. I'm in the menu. And keep in mind, what you see on the screen, even though I have the resolutions turned down, it still looks pretty good on like your phone, what you're going to be seeing in this YouTube video. And it's, I'm moving my head around and stuff, and it looks jittery to you on the screen, but to me it looks totally normal. Because I am in this 3D space. And by the way, this menu system here actually looks pretty cool because it's floating literally in front of my car. It looks like it's on a 2D plane to you, but to me it's 3D. It's floating on my car. Let me just drive out here. Get into the car. So all your controls and stuff work fine. I can turn on, these little control. I want to touch them with my hand. I'm reaching out to touch these little controls, these little displays on it. But it's all in a 3D space to me, where on the screen it's like on a 2D space, right? But what you get out of 3D compared to 2D is remarkable. You see all the details. Like this glove looks, it doesn't look like a plane. It looks like a 3D object. It's when I'm holding this wheel, even though I'm using like a bigger round Forza GT wheel with the Xbox hub on it, I feel like I'm holding this little wheel here and a little rim. I'm able to look around the cockpit. Look at this. I mean, looking around, See my tires turn, where they go to lock. You know, you see all this stuff in 2D, right? But you're looking at a screen. You're not setting inside the screen, if that makes sense to you. So I'm trying to explain this to where you can feel the realism of it. It just doesn't portray, and I understand why YouTubers say that. You just don't get it until you get it, all right? And that's how VR is. You don't get it until you're sitting in the car, and it's just like you went to a track day and someone let you borrow this Indy car and sat in it, but didn't let you drive it. Let's say they didn't let you drive it. You're just sitting here, and you're like, this looks amazing. I'm looking at this body work around me. You feel enclosed. When you're looking at a 2D screen, you don't feel that surrounding around you. You're just sitting in your chair, and nothing's around you. No spatial awareness around you, because you're just looking at it in the screen. Sure, you can see in the car, and everything looks pretty. But now I'm in the car. I feel like I'm sitting in this car and looking around and seeing other cars drive by, and like, oh, that's cool. I want to go have some fun too. And so it's in this garage. It's just amazing. You don't get that out of triple screens or a widescreen. You know, often I get asked questions. Hey, how do you like your Acer X34 widescreen? Does it feel in your peripheral vision? Yes, it does. When it's close to you, it feels it in good, and it looks amazing. Graphics on it, 3K, look amazing, and that's what I bought it for. But it doesn't hold a candle to what you experience in VR. Sure, it looks way better, but the immersion factor is so much greater. And by the way, the headsets on this Rift VR are actually really good, and I normally use my Sennheisers, and I don't really feel the need to go grab those. They don't go as loud as I can turn them up on the Sennheisers, but it's probably saving my hearing, to be honest. But they go loud enough. But, you know, and then some cars, like shifter carts, when you reach over here for the shifter, or if you use the paddle shifters, you feel like you're paddle shifting, you know. It's really cool. Other things like the spatial awareness, besides me feeling cramped right now, even though I'm not cramped in real life, you feel it here in the screen. You I'm inching forward a little bit there. Look at that. What was I gonna say? Your awareness of where to put your wheel through the curves, your tire through the curves, is greatly heightened. When you're next to another car, you start noticing how bad AI is, because they start sprinting away from you, you know, dodging away from you, thinking you're going to hit them or something. But you can, man, I saw smoke coming off those tires right here. Oh, that's the exhaust, I guess. That looks cool. So you still get some good graphical stuff like that. I don't know if you can see that on the screen, but I see that here. But anyway, the spatial awareness is just amazing, and this should be a drinking game, because as many times as I just said spatial awareness, you should take a shot. And by the end of this video, you'll be drunk, okay? But yeah, it's just engaging. Let's go out and track and experience this engagement. I feel like your head gets a little bit wobbly at first. I think when you first come out on track, you're like, oh man, I'm moving now, but your body isn't moving, but your brain feels like you're moving. But you can adapt it to it really fast, and or at least I did. I just feel it when I first take off, and then it goes away. But where you can place your car is actually really cool. You feel like you can place your car anywhere on the track, because you feel like you're on track. And this is kind of, you know, I don't know if any of y'all rode motorcycles, but the bike riders will understand this. The freedom that you feel on a motorcycle is awesome. It's a euphoria of feeling of being out in your body being out in the open. Look how close I can get this wall. Your body being out in the open, but where was I going with this? Anyway, on motorcycle riding, you feel great because you're out in the open, but you're trying to control this machine underneath you. When you're like in this F1 car, it feels the same. It feels like riding a motorcycle to me, except handling a steering wheel. You feel like you're out in the open environment. You're seeing where your tires are being placed, and it's just really cool. Going down this hill is a lot of fun. These close confined spaces like this, I mean, you never not see the screen door effect, right? But you forget about it because you're just having so much fun being in the moment of what you're doing. Yeah, it's just really cool. But you know, you look around when you're looking at, say, I was using Track IR, right? Just in comparison. Track IR, you're still looking at a 2D screen, and you turn your head so you can look to the right side or the left side in Track IR, just to get the camera to pan over that way smoothly, right? With Track IR. Those of you who don't know what Track IR is, it's basically a little sensor you put on your ball cap or something, and it has a radio, I guess a radio frequency or something, I don't know. It's a little sensor in front of you, and it registers where your head's moving. Now you can't do this in Track IR, look back behind you, because it'll lose what you're looking at. Plus, in Track IR, you still got to look at the 2D screen in front of you. So you just turn your head a little bit, and you're looking out of the side of your right side of your eye. Say if I'm looking left, to pick up what's going on. And obviously, the more you set the sensitivity to Track IR, the less you have to move your head around. But you could actually get kind of motion sickness doing that if you set it too sensitive. But in this, you don't have to worry about that, because where you look is where you're looking. It's just like being in real life, except looking through a screen door. So yeah, it's amazing. I hope this is relaying it to you well for those that have not experienced VR. To me, it's, you know, I'm in this F1 car, I feel like I'm doing a track day or something. And other cars, see how close I got to that wall without hitting it? I can just position my car way more precise. I'm not very good at driving F1 or Formula. This is an Indy car here, but these type of open wheel cars, they tend to be a little too squirrely for me at times. I'm better with GT cars, but I'm able to drive this one remarkably well, just because of my surroundings, of how I feel when I'm in the car. I feel like I'm driving the car. You know, a cool thing, and I normally run it, but I'm not in this video, is SimVibe, because you'd be hearing all my butt kickers going, but I run 6 transducers. So when you run transducers with VR, it's just another layer of immersion. Can't wait till I get motion, and that'll just be the ultimate thing. Later next year, hopefully in 2018, I'll be able to swing some motion rig. Look at that. But setting the, oh man, I need a shift here. I'm not using my paddle shifter, I'm using my Kuzenfeld sequential shifter right now. Review coming later on that, as well as I have a handbrake phone too. That I bought myself, they didn't supply me. Buy everything myself, my channel's not that big yet. And so I research and see what I really want before I make the plunge. Man, I love this. This is so much fun. You're able to control your rear end slides so much easier because I can see where my wheels are going. I feel what the car is doing. It's just really engaging. Oh shit, I hit that wall. So now the car's all jacked up.
Got suspension damage.
Got suspension damage. No kidding, huh? So let's go ahead and go in. I didn't turn on the pit crew to change tires, but at least you'll see them up close, I guess. But yeah, it's just a lot of fun. It definitely was worth the $350. I think it was worth $400 just to have this experience. Whoa. I think the more you use VR, the more you'll enjoy it, and you'll get used to the lower graphics. Provided it doesn't get you sick, right? But you'll get used to it, be a little bit lower. See, like the I'm looking at that car driving off the road. Of course, my steering's all jacked up, but you learn to live with it, kind of thing, right? So, hot dang, my car is jacked up. Whoa, look at that! Oh, that was awesome. You don't get that in a 2D screen,
That
man.
looks like a big hit. Are you okay?
I got a freaking tire on my car. This is awesome. Alright, whoa, there's some more body work. Alright, so I feel like I want to push this off with my hand to get it off my car. Okay, that was pretty cool. That's a good way to end the video right there, I'll tell you what. But let me exit out. Oh, I will say, I'm reaching for the keyboard. So when you're in VR, I will say this. You don't know where the heck you're at. Your surroundings. Everything's enclosed. So like I like to play sim racing at night with the lights off because it shadows out the furniture around me and makes things more centralized on the screen in front of me. With VR, the lights can be on. It doesn't matter. You feel closed off to the world. So that makes it even more engaging to you. So that's another plus. There's far more better pluses. Bodywork disappeared. What about my tire? It's still there. There's far more pluses to VR than there are negatives. You know, usually a good way to do it is figure out, oh, let's list the pros and cons of it. Cons are only two: graphics and sickness. And not a lot of people get sick from it, especially for sim racing. So really, only one con. Well, those are the two cons. But if you get sick, then obviously, you know, it's $350 or $400, and you know, maybe that you'd have to sell off afterwards to try to recoup your money. But I have heard a lot of people that do get sick train their brain to get better at it, and then they don't get sick no more. But anyway, but yeah, that's, you know, there's way more cons than there is negatives. So I'm starting to ramble here now, but that's is what it is. All right, well, what else can I tell you about VR to get it? It looks amazing when you're in close proximities like this. Oh, you know what I would say? I had a really cool experience with the rally driving in Project Cars 2. I was there's that guy, ain't got no tire either. I was chunking the car sideways, right, and drifting through there, and I almost lost control of the car, but I could feel the grip because Project Cars 2 has a really good tire flex feel, and I'm literally looking out the little side pillar of the window here, and babying the throttle and stuff to get it to turn back in, and saved it. That I wouldn't have normally saved that in anything else. Now obviously if you get some snap oversteer or something on a road car, you just no saving it, right? But rally cars are easier to save, but I was able to save it just physically because I could look exactly where I was going instead of using track IR or 3 screens and, you know, trying to follow that in my peripheral. I'm looking dead on where I'm going, and you go where you look, right? So anyway, we'll end it here. We'll end it with the crash, but that's my impressions of VR. Leave it in the comments what you think about your VR experience. If you have some setup tweaks or anything to help resolution get even better, you know, feel free to comment for all to have the knowledge. So knowledge is power. So anyway, we'll catch you next time on the track. Hope you enjoy this video and look at VR. More great videos coming. More VR videos coming, of course, and because I'm really digging it, and I don't really want to drive any other way really now because it's just so much more engaging. Anyway, we'll check you next time. See you on the track. I'm out.